Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Greene. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Greene is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
Do you want to become insanely successful? Do you want to be the go-to guru in your industry? Do you want to be talked about for all the right reasons? For over 40 years, Kevin Harrington has helped people just like you become significant influencers. Now he's broken the process down in the Key Person of Influence Roadmap, and it's yours for free. Just text KPI to him at 727-888-2100. Text KPI to 727-888-2100 right now and claim your free step-by-step guide. Text KPI to 727-888-2100 to get the recognition you deserve and experience the success as the go-to voice everyone listens to in your industry.
Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast. This is your co-host, Seth Greene. Today I have the good fortune to be joined by Chaz Wilson, President and CEO of Master Networks. Known as the voice of the entrepreneur, Chaz's mission is to educate, equip, and empower entrepreneurs so they can leave a legacy beyond the business. He's known for his entrepreneurial spirit and out-of-the-box thinking. Chaz has spent many years consulting business leaders and entrepreneurs. He has a passion for teaching, training, and helping them succeed. Chaz is the host of the Connect, Share, Prosper podcast and the author of 5+1, The Entrepreneur's Formula for Success, and Now Make Good. Chaz, thanks so much for joining us.
And Seth, appreciate it so much. My honor.
Awesome. So for our folks who don't know, what is Master Networks?
Yeah, so Master Networks is a national organization where we organize business networking groups in local communities. That's the simplest way to describe it. A place where, everyone talks about, hey, it's not what you know, but who you know. Well, if we know that to be true, then let's be intentional about who we connect with. And that's what we organize in local communities.
Okay, so what inspired you to start that when there are obviously other networking groups that exist?
Yeah, so I was part of another networking group for 10 years. I ran it. I was very involved, and came a point in my life, this was about 11 years ago. My wife and I had our last two children are twins. So we have 5 children. Our last 2 are twins. And yeah, 5 and 7 years. Not a plan I necessarily recommend. I wouldn't change it, but nonetheless. Right. And one of my twins, shortly after it was born, needed to have surgery. And I took the time to spend with my family. It's what's most important to me. But anyway, long story short, we get out of the hospital. Everything kind of everybody's healthy, strong. And I go to my mailbox one day, and in my mailbox is a certified letter that says, hey, you've missed a couple meetings of this networking group. You're out.
You're fired.
And again, look, I knew the rules. I totally get it. But after 10 years, I thought, man, no one reached out, no one connected. And I just realized that was the culture. And I wanted something different. I want something based on relationships, not transactional, and built on, growing each other and caring about each other. So literally that I decided right then I would start Master Networks.
So obviously that's the empowering outcome that happened. So you alluded to it a little bit. I'd like you to go more specifically. So what's different from Master Networks versus a BNI, Chamber of Commerce,
Sure.
Tip Club, Meetup?
Yeah. So, I mean, if you know those, you have a basic understanding of what we do, right? But lots of differences. So I'll just give a couple of high level ones so that people understand. Again, culturally, which is so big and so important, something that's hard to put on paper, but culturally, we believe that relationships are the key, not the referral. The relationships is long-term, not short-term. And so we focus on ways in our meetings to build relationship first, and then we enhance that through business education. Right. So we have an online university, we have a tech portal where we can share referrals, we can share connections, all of that kind of stuff. And then we wrap that all in the standpoint of we have no contract, easy in, easy out. If you want to play with us, we want to be with you, et cetera. Like that's it. So it's month to month, $49.95 a month, no contract, and you get to participate nationally and locally in your local chapter. Again, that's real high level overview without all the little
Sure.
features and benefits, but that's in a nutshell.
Awesome. And obviously, Master Networks has grown incredibly. How many chapters do you have now? How many members? How is that going?
Yeah. So, and COVID, where we're at currently
Yeah.
this moment, right, has thrown a big curveball in a lot of our stuff. But so right now we're at about 125 chapters in 20 states, a couple thousand members. It just surpassed the 3,000 member mark. But with COVID, we've actually maintained about 97% of our membership, which is for us.
That's awesome. I would assume you're going virtual during this time.
Yeah, we pivoted to about 120 meetings virtually in 1 week. We shifted all of them. Yeah, it was pretty incredible. Our team was awesome, and we just didn't lose a lot of people. I mean, overall, some of our competitors or some local networking organizations, I mean, they were crippled, and we've been able to maintain that.
That is absolutely incredible. How have you grown so far so fast?
Yeah, again, so it's interesting. I laugh because so many consultants have come in and said, oh, if you just run Facebook ads or if you just do this, and we literally do none of that. It is referral, just like we teach, through relationships. It's all organic. Now, I know someone's listening to this is like a social media expert or like a Facebook ads, like, oh, we could rock your world with this. And I get it. I totally do. But what's really cool is we have something called affiliate rewards, which is another feature of Master Networks. Whereas if you join Master Networks, you have to name a sponsor. That sponsor receives $10 a month every single month that you're an active member. And so you can actually have your dues basically compensated, right? An affiliate program. We've paid out over $1.6 million back to our members. And so they're incentivized as well to help the growth happen. And that's why it's just been all organic.
That is absolutely incredible. You have your own, every new member is an affiliate army, bringing
Correct.
in more new members. You've got unlimited self-perpetuating growth. So you've got differentiation, you've got compensation. You're also the host of the Connect, Share, Prosper podcast. Tell us a little bit about how that show came about and what we can learn if we tune in.
Yeah, so it's one of the things that I teach is the bond method. It's a way to connect with people, right? So there's a method that we have, the way that you could reach out to anyone you wanted to connect with. You could follow this method and do it. And so in the show, I bring on guests and I literally demonstrate, if you will, in an interview process of how we bond and connect. And so it's introducing, like, let's say you were on my podcast, which I'd love to have you sometime on my podcast. I would be introducing you to my audience, number one. And number two, I would demonstrate for them exactly how to connect with somebody, maybe the first time, second time you meet with them, on that. The second part of our show, we have kind of 2 rolling episodes of this. The second is where we will take some topic that's timely, that impacts entrepreneurs right now. And we showcase that. Examples, there's people whose businesses are being closed and impacted right now due to COVID. We then will give some facts on that. We'll bring on some guests where they've been impacted, and we sort of debate and discuss this topic and how it impacts entrepreneurs. That's what you can expect when you turn into our show.
That is absolutely fantastic. We will certainly recommend everybody give it a listen. Talk about the 2 books, 5+1 and Now Make Good.
Yeah, 5+1. So the title, it's the 5 business disciplines and the 1 master skill.
Oh, see, I thought it was related to the number of kids or something.
Well, so yeah, at that time, that's right when I was writing this, right? And then, no, there's not a 6th child, right? It's the 5 children. The +1 is my wife, right?
There you go.
Right. So it's the 5 business disciplines of thinking, targeting, tracking, timing, and team building. And we've then broken that down into subsections of how you can grow a business. And I've done that with the multiple businesses that we own, and that same formula we're using. And so we just teach that to other people. Now Make Good was more of a book I wrote for my own personal legacy, never realizing the impact it would have on my team, my members of Master Networks. It was really like for my kids and et cetera. Now Make Good. In fact, I wear a bracelet on my arm that says Now Make Good. And the title is really, for me, it was at a time in my life I went to do some volunteer service. And when I got there, it wasn't exactly what I potentially thought it was going to be. And I wanted to tap out right away and be done. And the leader of that organization sat down with me in this interview, kind of me thinking I'm leaving. And he said, it's the first time I'm young, I'm away from home, I'm doing all this work. and he said, what's going on? I said, look, I think this isn't for me. I got to tap out. And he said, okay, I just want you to know something. And by the way, it's all volunteer. Like, I signed up to do it. And he was in his 60s, and he looked at me square in the eye. It was one of those statements that pierced my soul. Like, just if you've ever had one of those moments in your life, like you'll never forget it. Stared me deep into my soul, and he said, "I just want you to know you hired up for a tough guy. Now make good." And I was like, "What does that mean exactly?" And he explained. He said, "You signed up. You knew this work was tough. You signed up. Now make good." And he explained it to me, and it pierced me. Like, I made a commitment to do something. Yeah, it's hard. That's not the point. I knew it was going to be hard. And for my whole life, I have carried that mantra of now make good. In fact, my kids wear the bracelets. We have shirts. People, never realized how it would just take off of this phrase that was over 20 plus years ago of now make good. So those are the two books that we have.
That is absolutely incredible. Now, you are a serial entrepreneur involved in multiple companies with a large family. How do you balance it all?
Well, you should probably ask my wife that question because, right, I'm assuming I'm balancing it all. She might answer differently. I say that jokingly, but the truth is she and I communicate a lot and regularly, and we have open communication if one of us is out of balance that way. And the truth of the matter is I am just very disciplined with my schedule. I'm probably very easy to determine where I'm going to be when, because I am like, if it's not on my calendar, it doesn't exist. So my date nights are planned. My family vacations are planned. My time with my kids. And I spend a lot of time. I coach my kids football. I do all of that. And I just try to focus. I'm not perfect at it. I don't want to give the wrong impression. But I just try to, I work Monday through Friday. The weekends are mine. The evenings are mine. And when I'm at work, I am hardcore, the most productive activities I can. And when I'm at home, I'm same kind of intensity, and just try to keep the priorities where they need to be. And, my wife and I just celebrated 20 years of marriage, 5 children.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And
it sounds like you're doing a lot right.
Trying every day, right?
Yeah. All right. So with all the success you've achieved, what's your biggest challenge now?
So the biggest challenge for myself right now is I'm at a stage where I've built the business, this main business of Master Networks that we have. I've built the business. I've put all the systems in place over 10 years. Everything's running and running. And now it's kind of that time for me to not be the operational CEO, but to really be the investor, owner, visionary, and kind of, I hate to say elevate myself because I'm like an org chart visual, right?
Yes.
Elevate myself up to that and replace myself with that CEO, kind of president of the company. And that is my path over the next 12 months to do that. That's my big challenge right now, because I can impact a lot of other areas of life and the business if I could step to that level this year.
Awesome. Well, good luck with that.
Right.
So I know that you are passionate about helping others. Talk a little bit about some of your charitable work.
Yeah, I do a lot. My wife and I are very involved with some organizations. We're very close and near to our heart with a charity called Operation Underground Railroad. You may be familiar with that, but
I am, thanks to Russell.
Yes, Russell. And so I have several friends who are operators. They've been undercover. I have a friend right now who just escaped Haiti. They rescued a bunch of kids and were on the run. He's just a dear friend of mine. He was one of the first guys that Tim Ballard, who started Operation Underground Railroad, hired to come in. He's ex-CIA, et cetera. And they go undercover, and he's really the one that first introduced me to it. And then, of course, I heard about it from Russell and Tony Robbins and so many others that have gotten involved. But my wife and I, it's again with 5 children, and we just know the impact. And I got to tell you right now, we have just spread that message and raised a ton of money for them, because you look at the numbers right now, kids don't have their safety net right now. They don't have school. I mean, some are going to go back to school, but they haven't had school. They haven't had church. They haven't had extracurricular activities. All these safety nets for kids have been taken away. And so the sex trafficking and the child abuse and sexual abuse is way up. That's even the ones that are being reported. And so it's just a big passion for my wife and I to be able to support that and to help raise money and support such an awesome organization with, by the way, which is important, phenomenal people running it, right? That's a key for us.
Okay, well, God bless you for the charitable work and the contributions that you're making. What do you like best about what you do?
I think for me, it's being able to take what I really love to do. And a lot of people say, hey, I love to help people. I do love to help people, no question. but it's a specific way that I like to help people. I get a thrill and charge and energy when I can help people see what they didn't think was possible. Like, I love the underdog story, because when I started my company, Master Networks, I had just come off a failed business with partners that stole money, et cetera, et cetera. We had 5 children. I had $27 in my pocket. I was like, I had no business being in business. And here we are. And I see where I was at. I joke, I call it defeated man syndrome. I had that. I was like done. I just couldn't, like, barely get out of bed kind of thing. I don't care if it's man, woman, doesn't matter. I had somebody that believed in me, and I want to be that for someone else and help them see it's possible for them as well. And we have had some amazing success stories of people that really have all the odds stacked against them that now have successful businesses, family time, et cetera. And that's why I love doing what I do.
That's beautiful. You talked about growing to the next version of your role, the next highest vision of yourself. Where do you see yourself and your businesses in the next 5 years?
Yeah. So, tens of thousands of members of Master Networks, myself being involved in that is, like I said, kind of that visionary owner, but not the day-to-day. I think there's someone that can take it to another level that I've got it where it is, and I'll coach them and help them through that. But there's somebody else that does that. And then for me, I've got it. My oldest is graduating high school. This is his senior year. And for me, it's going to be about spending time as much with my kids, my family, and then, coaching the business to continue to produce the revenues that it does. But that for me, and I'm sure we'll be involved in charity work because that's just what my wife and I do. But that's what I see over the next 5 to 10 years. I'm sure, I've sat on boards of charities and stuff. I'm sure that we'll get offers to do that and so forth, which we'll gladly do what we can.
Awesome. We appreciate your time. We know it's incredibly valuable. What else do you want to share that I haven't thought to ask you?
I think, thank you for that. I think what I would hope that people think about, and especially entrepreneurs listening to this message today, for years, I have shared, and I know somebody might be new to this, but I've shared for years, and I didn't realize what I was saying at the time. And I've said, you can't build a business in isolation. You need to have a network. And man, when isolation, technically, we all had to isolate. When that happened, it was more true than ever. And some people survived their businesses, some haven't. And what I realized is the network insulates. The network insulates you through times like this. The reason we've been able to make through and actually grow the way we have is because we have a massive network. And I would ask the listener to think about this. If you think about everything in your life that you have of any significance, and I mean something that's significant in value to you, more than likely it stemmed from a relationship. My 5 children, my significant other, my businesses, my partners, et cetera. Well, if we know that right on the onset, we know that's true, why wouldn't we all spend more time in our planning and our intentional being of who we should be in a relationship with? You mentioned Russell. I love Russell, love his company, love everything. And he says, you're one funnel away from, whatever, right? And I would just challenge that to say, I think you're actually one relationship away. I think you're one relationship away from changing everything in front of you, your future and everything. And so if we know it's not what you know, but who you know, then what are you doing right now to increase your circle and your network to insulate you?
Awesome. That is a great way to wrap up. Thank you so much. This has been Seth Greene for Sharkpreneur here with Chaz Wilson. Chaz, for our folks who want to get the podcast, who want to get the books, who want to learn about Master Networks, where is the best place for us to send them?
Man, thank you. I appreciate that. It's masternetworks.com, simple, straightforward, or any social media. You can search Master Networks and find us.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening and watching. We'll talk to you next time, Chaz. Thanks again.
Thanks, Seth. Appreciate it.
Do you need money to fund your idea, product, or service? Are you ready to take your business to the next level but need capital to get it done? Kevin Harrington has heard more than 50,000 pitches and knows how to help you make the perfect pitch to get the funding for your entrepreneurial dream. He's distilled the process down in his perfect pitch cheat sheet, and it's yours for free. Just text PITCH to him right now at 727-888-2100. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 right now and claim your free perfect pitch cheat sheet. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 to start funding your dream today.
This show has been produced by Market Domination, LLC. To discover how you can have your own show completely done for you and turn it into a real published book and become the authority in your marketplace, go to www.marketdominationllc.com/podcast offer.